Hello, hello, hello. So, I'm painting a Spanish town. So, this is a beautiful Spanish town, and it has been an absolute nightmare trying to paint it. So, I went here about a year ago, and it was a beautiful place, and I really wanted to paint these crisp white buildings and this blue sky, but I was very I was a bit hesitant to paint it. Like, it's taken me about a year to get round to it, because I like to paint silhouettes when I do watercolor. Maybe because it's easy and they look powerful, and I just like that. And this was very like well, it's the absolute opposite of silhouette in some respects, not completely, but in some ways, because you've got to have these clear, crisp shadows and a lot of light. Things are lit up, so you have to show the true colours. That's it, the true colours. So I don't often like that, especially in watercolor painting, because I find it very hard to do that and do it well. So this has been a super challenge for me. And by the way, this place, oh, here we go. I think it's called, I call it Frigiliana. It's not Frigiliana, but it's in a place called Nerha, or I even forget how you spell it, but I think it's Nerha, but you don't pronounce it Nerha, you pronounce it some other way, Nerja, or I'm not too sure, or it could be Nerja and you pronounce it Nerha, I'm not sure, but anyway, there's a town there called Frigiliana, whatever. I don't think I'll ever be able to pronounce it, but beautiful place. I think built by the Moors from Morocco, who some of the Moors lived like for 1,000 years, I think, in Spain. I couldn't believe that, like 800 or 1,000 years in Spain. Like, I know, like, the Spanish people kicked the Moors out of Spain and back into Morocco, whatever. But, I thought they'd been there about a couple of 100 years, but 1,000 years? I mean, that's just, history, it just amazes you, doesn't it? It's just not what you expect. So, the Moors lived in Spain a long time. 1,000 years. That's unreal. That's longer than, like, Europeans have lived in America, right? That's a huge amount of time. So that's a bit mind-blowing, and I like it when history is mind-blowing like that. So I don't know how long they lived here, but obviously it's got these mosaics that they're famous for, beautiful mosaics. And normally I don't paint stuff like this because it's too challenging, but just lift this up a bit. But this time I had a go. I had an idea, and I changed things a bit with the mosaics to make it easier to paint. And I think I pulled it off. So I did a first kind of dry brush light wash, first of all. And to be honest, it could be a bit more dry brush. And then I did a darker one over the top to show these really amazing mosaic patterns. And then when I looked at it, I thought, needs something else. So what I did was put a glaze over the top. And in some ways, it almost makes it look a bit marble-ish. But I like it a lot. And to be honest, you might have guessed, my favourite part of this painting is this part, where again, it all just blends in. Okay, so anyway, the sky, you get these brilliant, beautiful blue skies in Spain, and I was happy to capture that here. It has got like a spray effect, and to be honest, I like it, because one of the things I'm trying to do is get more of a slight abstraction or texture into my paintings, because I'm tired of people saying that my paintings look like photographs. And I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult or what, but well, I don't think it's an insult. I think they're quite impressed. But I think nowadays I just see these artists who, like, after 3 months or 6 months of painting abstracts, are selling them for like $3,000, and they've got no painting skills whatsoever, but people just want to buy abstracts. I think they believe they're sophisticated or something. But so maybe I'm being a bit compromised by that. But to be honest, I quite like abstraction, but I like also real. So one of the things you'll be seeing in my work is a big struggle between how to paint something with realism and touches of impressionism and abstraction coming into the painting. And that's quite challenging. It's easy just to do straight abstract, but how do you do real and then touches of abstract? And this, I hope, is moving towards abstract. But sometimes when I do abstract, I think because I've got so good at painting what's there or describing what's there, even when I go very abstract, it ends up looking very, very real. Well, so people say. So that's one of the struggles in my work at the moment, to bring more abstraction in. So one of the difficult things with doing this painting was the shadows, not making them too dark and at the same time not making them too light, because you want them to be punchy. And so I did a lot of sketching. Here are some of my sketches that I will just throw away because nothing else to do with them. But these are my sketches. I really like this. This was Wet in Wet and a different kind of scene. I love that. And so I'll be painting that in the future. In fact, I'm going to be doing maybe, did I say this? I might be getting Alzheimer's, but I'm going to be doing 50, I think, paintings of Spain. I'm going to try and capture that feel of Spain, because I've spent years and years and years painting Japan and trying to capture this feeling of Japan. And maybe I've been successful. I certainly captured something that was good. And I just thought something inside of me is a bit tired and a bit frustrated and needs a new outlet. So I think I'm going to take a break from Japan, and I'm going to do 50 paintings of Spain, because it's just different. And I'm just going to really try and do that. Now, I might not accomplish it. That's why I didn't say 100, because I think 100 is maybe beyond me. To be honest, if I can do 100, I will. But I really want to capture some of the feeling of Spain, because I saw some great stuff. I just saw some great stuff. And look, I did even more sketches of this place. I got a bit bored here, couldn't do any more. You know, you do reach a limit, or I do. And this is the original scene. So anyway, I found doing these shadows tricky. And next time I'm going to try and get more colour difference, if possible, in these shadows, and get them more darker at the bottom, because I think that will work really well. What else? Also with these walls, maybe add a bit more texture to them if I can, if possibly I can. This thing needs to be done better. This needs to be accurate, I think, more accurate than it is here. So that was tricky, and I haven't pulled that off well enough. So that's something that has to be better. I do like this dry brush using white gouache. That worked well. These work well. So the way I did these, what are they, balustrades? I'm not sure. But these railings was I used a flat brush for this bit. and then I used a liner brush for this bit, so I was quite happy with that. I might exaggerate these things just to make it look better, and my figures are they're just dead ducks. Apart from these two, they need to be far more dynamic, they need to be moving more and more irregular. So that means with the legs a bit more dry brush. So I'm going to have another go at this painting, and then you can see if I achieved what I set out to do. So it needs to be a bit more dry brush with the legs, but also just needs to be more alive, these figures. Somehow I need to do that. So what else? And yeah, and then hopefully I'll get this shading right, or shadow, and then to add this over the top. This got all a bit watered down, which was a bit sad. And here, this needs to be like this. There needs to be kind of a splurge of darkness, not so regular and accurate. Doesn't work. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but the doors as well, and these shadows need to be far more graded. They need to begin a lot darker and end up like a kind of bluish colour, I think. I'm really going to exaggerate it, and I'm going to keep thinking about how can I add more abstraction. So I might make the shadow more dramatic here. I sometimes use dramatic shadows to introduce abstraction. And that really for now is about it. The brushwork just needs to be a bit better. I think overall this works, and I've done the cardinal sin of any artist, and I learnt this actually from a woman, because I was once met this very nice looking woman, a very, very nice looking woman, and we were having a really nice chat, and I thought, this woman is great. And in fact, I thought, this woman is perfect. And then she said to me, well, I said to her, you're perfect. And she said, well, actually, I've got narrow hips. And then I looked at her hips, and I saw she had narrow hips. And, you know, suddenly I kind of like, you know, I thought, oh, yeah, you're not perfect. And so in my painting, I've basically done the same thing. You know, many people will look at this and just think, oh, that's a nice painting. But then when I tell you all the faults in it and you see them, you realise, right? But this is just kind of, I think, the stage in my art career. I'm not sure I'd call it career, nightmare maybe, is I'm just putting it out there, I think. And so, you know, I'm tired now of like trying to show everybody my best work and just, hey, look how brilliant this one is. And instead just kind of give you the show you more like the more painful side of painting, or the kind of things you go through and the struggles you go through, because maybe that's going to be more interesting. And also it's kind of like I can maybe understand better myself what's going on as I listen to what I'm talking about. So it might help me, and you might find it interesting. So that's about it for now. And if you've got any thoughts about this painting, and, you know, like, I mean, when you look at it, how do you feel? And do you like it? And why do you like it? You know, and do you think it can be improved? And what would improve it for you? So for me, it all began with like a vision of, my vision was this, you know, this pure whiteness. There's something about, you know, brilliant white that's powerful. You know what I mean? And against that blue sky, it's very, when you look at it, it's like when you have a shower and you feel super clean and purged. You know, it's just nice, and it's crisp, and I'd love to get that. And I feel like I didn't quite get that. Maybe here, when I look at this, I can see it with those steps. You can see that pure whiteness. And maybe it's because of this greyness, you know, because sometimes in a kind of ironic way, the dirt kind of shows the cleanness. Do you know what I mean? Ironically. So this kind of greyish colour just makes this white look so spectacularly pure and brilliant. And I just love that. It's just lovely, you know, and you often get these brilliant white buildings in Spain, you know. And so I really want to capture that. And also this kind of ground, this mosaic, I mean, that's just so beautiful. I mean, they just, you know, they just don't make things like this anymore. They'll never make probably anything as beautiful as this again, unless, you know, I don't know, an AI is doing it. But they'll probably never make anything like this again, as beautiful as this. You know, it's just beautiful and unique. And that's about it. You know, I just had that vision of those crisp white buildings, blue sky, and beautiful, delicate shadows. So I'm going to have another go. Wish me luck, and we'll see what happens. Bye for now.